right, guys, welcome back to the Win and Play podcast. I am your host, Sean Geary, national youth speaker and author, and I have an awesome guest with me today. But as we always do, before we even get started with introducing our guest, we got to do our normal ritual, right? So because this is the Win and Play podcast, we're giving tips and ideas and strategy to help parents, principals, teachers, any youth advocate better serve students. And so with winning plays, is when you think about the teams, you win. The more you win, you get to go to the tournament. You keep winning, you get to become a champion. And with becoming a champion, in most situations, you get a ring. So we are going to do our normal ring pop ceremony, which is just simply you get to pick out first which ring you want, and then I'll pick mine, and we get to eat it on the episode.
Okay, let's see. Let's see a few sours.
Yeah, I heard you saying something.
I'm gonna go with the cherry sour real quick.
Let's see, sour lemonade. I don't think I've seen this one yet. And I done seen them. I've seen the sour cherry.
You know all
I've
of them.
definitely seen this one. What was this one? Sour green apple. I think I'm gonna go with the sour green apple.
Yeah.
That sour lemonade is that might be one to try another time, but sour green apple.
I feel like I'm safe with cherry.
You said what? Oh, safe with cherry. Yeah. Yep. For sure. All right, so today's episode is really cool because this episode is going to be geared for any for-profit or non-profit organizations who you have a program, something that you want to do inside of a school, working with youth, or not inside of a school, but just something that you're trying to do to give back to the students, because it could be an after-school program or something that you want to do. And a lot of times when you have a non-profit organization, one of the first things you think about is grants, right? Like, man, I got to get some grant money. I don't know what I'm doing. I've never, I barely got my nonprofit set up, and so today we have a special guest that is going to help us understand a little bit more about grant writing, and that is JoVonne Walker. So welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
I know you are extremely busy. You have done a ton, like online. I've seen you posting all the time, promoting things and sharing things and giving a game. So thank you for taking the time to be here. I'm going to ask the first question, and then I'm going to take a chance at this, a stab at this.
Okay.
So with the grant writing piece, why grant writing? Like, how did you get into grant writing? What pulled you into that?
Well, grant writing. So I've been officially grant writing for about a year now.
Okay.
A little over a year. It started last year. I got a big list of grants, and from there I'm like, I need to share this with people, because if I have, it was like 900 grants for different types of businesses.
What?
It was like a big list, but it was spaced out over time.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just, I found it free, so other people should too, right?
Yeah.
I was looking at it, I sent it out, I posted a lot of stuff on Facebook. It was like 120 people said, I need that list, so I had to build my email list from that.
We are back. So you were saying you sent out, you just made a post, and it was like 120 people?
It was 120 people that wanted the list, because I said I had a list of over, I think I said I had a list of over 500, which really was 900, but I was like, it's over 500 grants. And so people were looking at the list, and they're like, I don't even know where to start.
Right.
So then I started, this was like back in March of 2023.
Okay.
So then I started sending the emails in addition to the list. It was like, hey, I've had this experience in terms of writing proposals in general, like maybe we can talk through what your grant needs are, what have you.
Right, okay.
And because I'm a business strategist, so I just know how to navigate different angles of aspects of business.
Yeah.
And so people were like, I need that. And then more people were like, I need somebody just to do this for me.
Yeah.
So
that's what I fall under right there. That's just like, man, look, I don't even want to learn that. Can you just do it?
Yeah.
Or is there a package where you could,
Right. So it was like, I got that when some people were saying that they wanted to learn how to write grants, so I found a grant writer.
Okay.
I had posted like, I'm looking for a grant writer that has really good experience, and then lo and behold, I had a relative that was like, oh, my homegirl, she has like $5 million in grant secured.
What?
And to this date is now like 16 million.
Oh my gosh.
So
my gosh.
So I had her teach a class, and I
Nice.
left it open to those that were already following me to be a part of it.
Mm-hmm.
So in her class, I'm like, oh, it's not that hard to write a grant because I already wrote proposals. I just didn't necessarily realize like what the major difference was between like a grant proposal and your general business proposals.
Okay.
And it's all like the statistical aspects of things, data and all that. So I was like, okay. So I knew how to like refocus my writing.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
That is cool, man. So look, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna be honest with you. This is safe space, right?
Yeah.
You said you had 900 something grants, a list, and then you gave away the whole list.
I did. I know. I already know.
I mean, even 100 and something people. I'm just saying, I might have would have had to charge them 10 or something.
No, listen, I'm not like, I was doing it out of the kindness of my heart. My friend was like, you're crazy. Because you have this list and you're not charging anybody for it. So by that time I had already had the list, and it was one of those lists you can lock too. It was a Google sheet.
What you mean?
Google
Oh
so
my gosh.
I ended up, when he said, you need to start charging people for this, I locked it.
Let's go.
I locked it, but by that
Get
time,
that income.
right, by that time people they still weren't sure. They just really needed help.
Or they seen it and it didn't really mean nothing. Like they're like,
oh,
man, yeah, but what am I looking at?
Yeah,
Right.
Because it had like the name of the grant, the deadlines, and even some of the descriptions and stuff and the links.
Yeah.
But when you don't know what you're looking at.
$20.
So I was like, so I went through a period where it was like, okay, well, I'll charge $20 every month. You'll just get a piece of.
There you go.
But I
I
didn't have too many takers on that.
Really? You said you did or did not?
I did not have too many takers. What I found was people like free stuff.
Yeah, of course they do. And then they ain't gonna do nothing with it. Most of them ain't gonna do nothing with it if it's free.
Yeah. So, and I wasn't even still trying to just do the free thing.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, that's when they were starting to ask, like, I need help with writing and all that. So that's when I focused in on that. Like, okay, it's not about selling a list.
Right.
The list, honestly,
eventually it'll be outdated anyway.
It's gonna be outdated because it's only by
the dates and stuff.
By month. I started setting it up monthly, as opposed to you get this whole big thing. Gotcha.
Okay.
And then I was like, I'm overworking myself.
Yeah.
I'm like, now I'm taking this and breaking it down and putting it up like so. So I'm like, I couldn't do that anymore. Focused in more on the writing and like grant applications. People were like, oh, I need help with grant applications. That's for me, it's super simple. Like, I'm just going on there, filling out a job application.
Right.
With your business information. We have met maybe for 30 minutes. I learned a little bit about what your business is, what you're looking for, what you're trying to accomplish, and then using whatever list I have to apply for grants that most likely align with what you're doing.
That's so dope. Are your students lacking confidence? How's their decision making in the school? What about their effort in the classroom? Are they giving it all that they really, really have? Well, these are things that, as a national youth speaker and author, I address in school buildings. If you are dealing with any of these issues and you would like to have a fun, exciting, full of energy presentation, assembly, don't hesitate to reach out. My website is SeanGary.com. How they think about their next choices will be different. Go ahead and book a discovery call with me, which we simply have a conversation about what their challenges are, what their needs are, and then I can share with you what I would say, do, what talks that I have that address those areas, and also what an assembly would look like. And yes, I'm pretty much there the whole day. All right, thanks a lot. Now back to the episode. So I hope y'all caught that, because that was a diamond right there. Being able to connect with, partner, lock arms with, however you want to articulate it, but to be able to grab a hold of your team, your village, and allow people to do what flows naturally for them. Because I know I know what I just heard. And she said that it wasn't that hard and it was real simple, and and I'm just saying, like,
I'm saying for me,
a lot of people would not say that. So y'all need to get with your girl, and and we'll get to that. Make sure you guys can connect and all that good stuff. All right, so we're gonna end up coming back around to the grant stuff. What were you doing before that? You mentioned some business stuff and understanding business real well, and share a little bit about that. What were you doing before?
So my corporate experience, I worked for Kroger for 12 years.
Okay.
So I did pricing analysis. I also worked as an assistant store manager for some time. So I know like inner workings of a Fortune 500. That's where I gained a lot of experience from there. Yeah. Doing a lot of different things beyond the title, right? And then I went into full-time entrepreneurship in 2019. In March of 2019. Okay. I was already doing like a side hustle and then turned it into full-time. When I was doing content writing. Okay. For businesses.
How was that? I want to hear about that. How was the content writing? First, describe a little more. What were you doing?
What was content writing? So if say for instance if you're like, hey, I don't have time to write my post for social media. I don't have time to I need to do a blog, but I don't have time to do that. Or I need to send out these emails. I would do that. That would be my service to business owners. Like, I would write your content for you. Nice. So it was winning with words. So yeah. So it was because I recognized a lot of businesses were missing on things, because oftentimes we write. If you on a whim and you don't necessarily have time to write something, you just kind of throw
whatever out there. Yeah.
And then you look, and then as a audience member, as a someone that could potentially purchase what you're doing, right? Like, I don't know what you're doing. Like, I think I missed them. You missed the mark. I missed the mark. So I saw a lot of that, and that's what caused me to want to write.
Say, hey, let me help you guys out.
Yeah, instead of talking about it, I wanted to be a resource to that situation.
And you were doing that part-time or on the side as your hustle, and then you shifted into that full gear. Yeah. So was it, in your opinion, was it a lot of clientele who needed work, or was it a few who you were able to retain like just constantly every month?
I would say it was a few that I retained. Okay. And then I got to the part where I was like, I don't necessarily want to write it per se, because there's so much to marketing that they can do. So I did start teaching a class with Greater Cincinnati Micro Enterprise Initiative. Okay. That was like my first, shout out to them. That was like my first class to teach, and it was a marketing class. Okay. To small business owners, fresh. Some of them haven't even started their business yet. They're just in that idea stage. Some of them have already started their business, and just teaching them the ins and outs of marketing. Right. Okay. So I really liked that. And then when I did that full-time transition, it was like, okay, I know the content side. I wanted people to see that I knew what I was doing because I was writing it. But I'm like, let me show you how to. And I even kind of moved into like the consulting side too. So I went into like communications consulting, and it was centered around content. So you're building out the content for an organization where it's a community, like a communications plan for their whole year. Okay. So their social media plan, their email marketing strategy, their whole how they're going to market in terms of engaging new partnerships too. For sure. So it's like all those things. My mind, the way I think is just it's seemingly almost all over the place, but honestly it's strategically
and it's all coming together. Yeah, it all has its own spot. Yeah. And it fits like a puzzle piece.
Yeah. So
lots of pieces.
So that's what I was doing prior to that. My experience with working with Kroger, just kind of utilizing those skill sets as well. And I think the grit thing was just one of those things like, oh, this is a low-hanging fruit. Let's roll with that. Okay. Because I still have some like strategy clients as well. Okay. But it's been lately, the focus has been more so on the grant side. Yeah. Just because it's a big need. Even with the strategy clients, they're like, I need money.
Wow. How so you can double dip off of it and be able to nice. Well, I know when we talked that one time, I talked about not even knowing, don't judge me, okay, that you could get grant money having an LLC. So tell us a little bit about that, because I'm sure, and maybe I'm wrong, but maybe I'm not. I'm sure there's somebody who also didn't know that you can get grant money having an LLC.
Yeah, you definitely can get grant money having an LLC. I will say that not every business can get that grant money. Say for instance, you have a car wash, and you're like, hey, I just want to get money for my car wash. It's not going to be that there's money all available at that time. It could be something for small businesses based off of your city, local, or your county. They may have something specifically for a small business. It doesn't matter what kind of business you have. There's a lot of national grants that you might see. So if you ever heard of Hello Skip, Hello Alice, all of those types of.
Heard of Hello Alice.
Yeah.
And what is that? Because I think somebody who sent me that, it was like an accountant, somebody who was following with like the COVID monies and stuff that was available. I think they were the one who, if my memory serves me correctly, I think that's the contact person that started sending out the Hello Alice stuff. But what is Hello Alice? Because I never really looked into it or looked at it.
Yeah, so Hello Alice is a site, it's a platform where there's different types of grants for different types of businesses. And a lot of times it's for small businesses.
Okay.
They're really competitive though, extremely competitive.
Wow.
So you'll say, for instance, Progressive. I think it may have just ended, but it was a grant out there for like $50,000 to go towards a car.
Oh, wow.
But they only are selecting 20 grantees.
Okay.
Now, Hello Alice is known nationally, meaning that every city, every state, all over, virtually can literally be applying. So you might have 5,000 applications,
right?
But only 20 winners.
Yeah.
So it's extremely competitive, and that's similar to like Hello Skip is a platform where it's kind of feeding through with different types of grant opportunities that are available, but they're highly competitive as well.
Yeah. Are they? They're also national, probably then.
Yeah.
Okay.
National.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about this grant process, like for those that are maybe saying, man, I can just figure it out on my own. Can you give us maybe like a couple steps, like from Skyview, like no details, but of just like, these are the like basic steps from wanting to look for grants, getting a grant, like, I don't know what all those steps would be, but.
Yeah. So I always think of grants and looking at maybe 5 steps, right?
Okay.
So you have, your first step is identifying what is it that you want money for.
Okay.
Be very, very clear about that.
Okay.
The second thing is, if you, small business in particular, nonprofit, or even for-profit, if you are looking for some funding based off of what you know you need the funding for, then look in your local area. Start local. Local is not hard. I mean, not saying it's hard. Local is not.
It wouldn't be as competitive, right?
As competitive.
Yeah.
I mean, there's still some competition there, but it's not as competitive because we do have to remember grants are not guaranteed.
No guarantee.
No guarantees.
No guarantee.
You could know the founder of the company and say, so.
Hey, Johnny, man, hey, I submitted that last week, man.
People just think it's not like that. But you do want to, start local. So your city could have something. Since we're in Cincinnati, Ohio, it's Hamilton County. They got different things that go on. They have one for local businesses all the time. So look that way. The third thing is, as you are looking to see what grants you have, make sure you have all your information together. Like you have the year you started your business, knowing exactly when you started, your EIN, like these are like some general high level things.
It's
right?
like having, because you talked about the application, filling out like a bunch of job applications or whatever. So I guess that would be like your address,
your
name.
address,
You're gonna keep putting it down, but you need to know what it is.
Yeah, you know it. And especially like if you're nonprofit, because I'm gonna switch back and forth between for-profit, nonprofit. If you're nonprofit, you're gonna have like the 501c3 letter, the letter of determination is the correct way of saying it, but that's going to be needed too.
Okay.
But these are all the documents that, whether you're for-profit, nonprofit, just have your steps together, because sometimes, depending on the type of grant, especially if it's local, they might be asking you for your tax return, which means you're not.
Did you even file?
Did you file it? They might be asking you for that, so make sure you have all that stuff together. That's the most important thing, I think. And then where am I? Number 4.
Yep.
Number 4. Read the directions of the grant. Follow the directions of the grant.
It sounds easy, right?
Yeah.
Easy to do also means easy to not do.
Yeah, easy to not do. Like, make sure that you read it. Make sure that you follow the instructions. If they tell you they need that you can only have 2 things, and you decide that you want to put 4, you're not following the directions. People actually win grants because they follow directions. And I'm not even trying to be funny. But that's literally, like, I heard of a situation where
I was going to ask you to give us one.
In the middle of COVID, there was a grant fund that maybe it was like a few million or something, and they were giving out to different businesses. This wasn't local to Ohio, but they were giving to different businesses. And if they were going to give to maybe like 40 businesses.
Wow.
Well, because of COVID, they're like, you know what? Everybody's gonna get something. They may not get it. They may not get all the things, but the main thing they need to do is complete the application properly. People still missed out because they didn't follow the instructions of the application.
And they were gonna give everybody some money. Oh my goodness.
So even if it was $500, they missed out on that opportunity to get that because they didn't follow instructions. So it's important to follow instructions.
So if they have any thoughts about their lack of ability to follow directions, it will be a great time to tap in and really listen, because soon you're going to be able to get this information, her contact information, so that you can connect and be able to let her make sure she follows those directions for you. right.
That's going to be most important. After you follow those directions, press submit and keep up with.
Is this 5? Keep it up.
Yeah, number 5. Okay. Number 5. Like, you'll have what those directions are. They're going to also tell you what the timing will be before you hear back. Yeah. And it's not the next day. Sometimes it could be months. It could be a year, right? It just depends on what you apply for. But make sure you keep your email clean, or you check your email often.
Every day.
Because they could respond that way. If you had to go through a portal, go on the portal and see.
Interesting.
Something where you had to log in to submit your application. So just know those 2 things in that. Those are 5 steps, sorry. But yeah, make sure that you follow up from that regard.
That's good. Let me ask you this. When you first started, because it's easy now to say how simple it may feel for you, but when you first got started, was there anything that you were doing earlier on where it was a challenge, or you're like, man, I keep messing this part up? Like, was it something that you were stumbling on at all that you can remember?
So I'm gonna go back to the very first time I applied for a grant for myself. Okay. Which was like, actually.
Did you get it? Oh, no, you probably not, based on my question. Oh, you did?
I did, actually.
Oh, okay. Well, shoot. Go ahead. Messed up.
But that was in 2020. That was in 2020, because COVID, everybody was. Okay. They were passing out money left and right. But when I did it, I was just overthinking everything. Okay. So I was like, I don't think I did that. So I'm the type of, like, I'm going to look at it 25 times to make sure I did it right. So now, I don't do that as much, because it's like, okay, I'm confident that. I'm confident that. So it was like my whole thing was like confidence in what I was putting out there. That's good. It's many people experience that too, to the point where if you overthink it, you mess up your own situation.
Right. Nah, let me erase it. It said address, but I wonder what address did they mean?
Yeah.
My address or my elementary school teacher's address?
Yeah, it's like, it's like it takes you.
You'd be somewhere
kilter.
way off. Like,
Yeah.
it had to be my teachers. It had to be my teachers. Let me erase this.
Right.
Oh, that's funny. So again, guys, listen. This is you getting some good stuff here.
Yeah.
You getting some really good stuff. All right. So overthinking it. What can you remember a mistake you made a while ago, or somebody that you know of made that probably really cost them? Or whatever just came to mind, because you look like you had
like
something.
I did have a mistake. So I remember one time I was applying for a grant. I applied for this grant, and on one site it said it was like for $10,000. The other site it said on the actual application itself it said $20,000. So which one do I go with?
Right.
And at the same time, it was the last day to submit it. So it's like, it took them forever. For the first time I sent them a message. Because I do talk to funding agencies.
Okay.
Just to ask them questions. But by
we're
this
going to
time,
get to that too, because I think that's going to be some good stuff
by
right
this
there.
time, I was like, it's too late in the game. Let me go with what's on the application. It said $20,000.
Okay.
It hasn't. I wouldn't say it has officially costed anybody yet, because that funding organization, did go and check out my client's location. So they did a site visit after the submitting of the application, which I didn't know that was going to be a part of it. So, but they did ask the question, why'd you put for so much? So I'm like, oh well, y'all.
It said 20 on there.
So it's just.
What'd they say to that?
Like,
sorry, or we didn't.
They didn't say sorry, because I wasn't there for the site visit. When my client was talking to them, they were just like, "Oh, okay, that makes sense."
Okay, gotcha. So it wasn't no big deal, kind of.
Yeah, they just wanted to know, like.
Yeah, why'd you put double the amount?
Like we told you 10,000, but your application said otherwise. But yeah.
But that wouldn't be normal, or in your opinion, do you feel like? In a normal situation, if someone, like you were talking about following directions, if they're saying they got 5,000 max for everybody who they award, and you're asking for 10,000, obviously you're asking for more. Would that typically be something that would just cut you out all the way out?
I don't think it would cut you all the way out.
Okay.
Especially if you could show that you have other sources of income.
So that's a component that helps your case, if you will.
Yeah. Like if you said like our total is we're needing $10,000, and they may have said we're only going to give you $5,000. You can also state that we're going to get another $10,000 from another donor or from our other maybe our bank account, like type of thing. So when they see that you have other relationships, like financial relationships that are going to help to sustain your programs, you're still in the running, if you will.
That's cool. So would they end up giving you the whole thing, or just still giving you what they were originally based on your experience? Not sure. To their discretion, I guess.
I think it's their discretion, because sometimes even when you ask for exactly what they said you can get, they may not give you the whole thing.
Right.
Just because I know.
Let's give them a little bit.
We'll just give them, instead of 40,000, we're gonna give you 30.
I'll take the
30. So it's still one of those things. And then, when in the grants that I'm talking about, referring to specifically, are like those foundation grants. When it comes to federal grants, it's a totally different level. The attention to detail, the requesting no more than is really,
they ain't playing.
They're not playing about that. So,
man, I guess the higher up you go, you got more applicants, so they're looking at they're trying to weed out as soon as possible, to save themselves the time of reading through all these. Who made a mistake? Okay, all these did. Toss them. Who made a next level mistake or whatever his name, who wrote their name wrong. Let's get all of them out of here. Man.
Like, who didn't know their mission?
Yeah.
Now, I've had that experience too, where we submitted, and then the client wasn't quite sure as to what even though I've been walking.
What do I do?
Yeah, I think it's like just becoming nervous with it, because by this time this was like a conversation with the funding agency.
Okay.
And they're like, so you asked for this, that, and the third. What happened? Why? So it's like really knowing your stuff, and then making sure that you could, when your grant writer communicates to you, listen. Like, this is what we walked through. This is what she said you needed assistance with finding it, and this is what we're asking for. Because I help to build program budgets just for the grant application.
Say that again. That part. What is that?
So if you got the Win Play podcast, and you're like, hey, this is my whole program. I know my electricity, my light's gonna be $150. My phone is gonna be $1,200. All that stuff. Okay, well, let me put an Excel sheet together and make a budget. Make it make sense so that I can submit it to as part of your application.
Got you. So do most have that budget already broken down, or do you use it often, or how important is that, or how often do you feel
that's one of the most important parts.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Bing! It's another one.
Yeah.
Getting that budget together.
Yeah.
So if someone right now, because I feel like we all as entrepreneurs need to have a good grasp on just our finances anyway as a company. You want to know how much it costs, what's your profit margin, what, you know what I mean? How much are you spending a month on everything, right? So if you're interested in getting some grants to help out and help you to serve and do what you do, and you haven't been documenting, your pennies, we'll call it for now, make sure you know where your pennies are going, because at some point down the road, it's probably going to be asked of you, what are you doing with the pennies? Well, let's look at the pennies. Let's see where the money's flowing, how much is coming in, where is it going, and see how organized and structured you are. Or a question can come that's so detailed that you couldn't even answer it unless you had a breakdown of different numbers and finances and what's going on each month. And for some entrepreneurs, their businesses will fluctuate based on the season, right? So to be able to say in December is Christmas time or it's cold outside, maybe you have a boat something, company where you're out on the water. So in the summer months, that's when you're crushing and killing it. But then in the winter months, maybe you're doing something completely different or nothing at all. Well, the numbers should be able to reflect that outside looking in, that, wait, what's going on? If they didn't know the business name or didn't know what you provided, looking at those numbers, they should be able to see that pattern and say, like, wait, why is there no money ever in December, in January, in November? And then if they decide to ask or go look it up, they go, oh, okay, so this is a summer, they're providing summer, whatever. Okay, that makes sense. But the numbers probably really need to match, they need to match whatever it is that you're doing, so it all makes sense. You're painting this big picture, right?
Yeah, big time.
Telling a story, if you will.
Yeah. Grant writing and storytelling, for sure.
Storytelling.
That's how I see it, especially from me having written content too. It's like it's still marketing your business. You're marketing it to donors, like our foundations. You're marketing it to the federal government, your local government. You're marketing to different small like private companies that are giving money away. Yeah. So
that's cool.
It's just you're telling the story of your program,
who you are, what you're doing, and how you're doing it.
You're building a narrative for what you do, and then you're building a budget narrative too.
It's that budget word, that B word again, budget.
Make sure you have some. Make sure you make it make sense as to why you need the money.
That's good. All right, so here's a question I wanted to come back to and dig a little deeper. So when it comes to you having a relationship with those companies and the donors that are providing the finance, the funding, we'll call it, tell us a little bit more about that. Is what part of everything that you do, what percentage even is connecting with those United Ways or whoever that's providing the grants?
So in terms of what I do, I usually don't build relationships. as I'm writing, I'm building relationships.
Okay.
But I also, if I'm writing for an organization too, I'm also encouraging the founder to build that relationship too. So what I do is,
that's good.
because I'm naturally a connector, I will, even especially if we have questions, me and my client are having conversation, recognize they have some specific questions. I'm gonna reach out to whoever that main contact is for the fund, and I'll schedule a meeting with all three of us.
Nice.
So it's like, it's not that it's just me.
Right.
Even though that's part of it.
Yeah.
But you're gonna talk to the executive director or the owner of the company.
Yeah, that's good. What are those meetings like? Like, how beneficial are they to? Because I'm thinking, if I get to have this meeting, then there's a chance that I might have a better shot at getting this money, you know? Like, let me shine on my personality, or, you know, whatever. Let me bring a gift to the, you know, like, hey, man, here's something. Just thank you for your time. And trying to become memorable to them for when whoever's going through the applications, you know, maybe they get a look or whatever, and they go, oh, I remember this guy. Yeah, Sean something, good looking guy. Like, yeah, he, you know, I liked him.
Maybe personality. Like.
So how, so with those meetings, how is that even a good idea to think, or is it anything like what we're describing and joking around with, but, or is it like, no, there's no real time to connect, there is no connection, there's like, what is that meeting like? And
so the meetings in some instances can be like that.
Okay.
But then other times it's not, because sometimes the contact person isn't the one that's reviewing.
Gotcha. That
They're
makes
just
sense.
the one that's like compiling all the applications.
Right.
And then it's the whole,
and they pass it on to somebody
it's
else.
a whole another board or another 20 people that have to look over and review it.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So it's just for you to get your name out there per se. It's an awareness. It's always good to have some level of awareness. So having those conversations, like if it is a United Way, sometimes it's just kind of thinking of a United Way. You mentioned it. Most of the time they're not the reviewer, but if you talk to them enough, they're like, oh, they're gonna start knowing who you are. Okay. The contact person will. And they might be like, oh, okay, this is cool, but they can't necessarily put in a good word for you. Right. As much as you want to, because it's still another, I know for one of the grants, it was like another 20 people that looked at it. Like they looked at a grant that I did.
Oh, that was looking at the applicants.
The applicants. Yeah, so it's review.
Different.
It's reviews. Like it might be a group of 5, 4 times.
Wow.
That review. Or, you know, it depends. But it's not that easy per se.
Right. Well, if I get in good with this guy, like, nah, he's probably not alone.
We were just talking to Justin, that's it.
Right.
Justin's a good guy, he's always gonna love you. Like,
right.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's interesting. All right, so what would you suggest for somebody who they have an idea of what they want to do, and they know they want to serve and give back, so they're leaning towards nonprofit, but they're wanting to do it full time, and they're like, how do I pay my bills? So they're like in this place where like, do I go nonprofit or should I go for profit? What direction or questions would you have them ask themselves, or how would you assist that person in even figuring that part out?
Well, I'm thinking of this, like many people think, oh, because I want to give to the community, I want to go to nonprofit. But then they're also like, I want to pay my bills. Right. Don't do that. Don't go nonprofit if you want to pay your bills.
Okay.
Like if that's what if your thing is, like, at the end of the day, I still have my mortgage, my car note, and all that other stuff. Don't just build a business and say, oh, this is nonprofit, because it's still nonprofit. Like you still have to balance everything out. You may not be making a whole lot of money in the first few years. Like you still have to build a board. You still have, there's so many pieces to it. You might be the volunteer for a long time. so you can't really pay your bills.
Right. That part.
Because you have to work on your funding, your fundraising, and it's not grant specific. It could be a car wash. It's so many different ways to build some funds, but at the same time, you got to think about that.
Right.
If you are trying to have a business to make a living,
right,
nonprofit isn't your answer.
Not.
Yeah.
And then I know for myself personally, I want to eventually, because I got the speaking and the books and all the other stuff under the LLC, and currently the mentoring program is as well. So what I'm thinking that I want to do is maybe in this next 6 to 12 months is to get my nonprofit started and have the mentoring piece and the mentoring curriculum and the books for the mentoring and all of that kind of flow under the nonprofit. And then I wanted you to speak to them to this part too. I just recently found out about how you can connect the nonprofits and for-profits under a grant, and they both can eat off of a pot of money, both of course providing services. So I was thinking if I had the nonprofit to do the mentoring piece and everything with that, then I could maybe bring my LLC in to have me come speak, or something to kind of ignite that event, if you will. To then say, yeah, here's this event where I'm speaking, encouraging them, motivating them, but then also there's a mentoring element present as well. That's my way I was trying to think through that. Does that make sense, or what's something that I should maybe consider or think about that I'm not maybe thinking about? Are your students lacking confidence? How's their decision making in the school? What about their effort in the classroom? Are they giving it all that they really, really have? Well, these are things that as a national youth speaker and author, I address in school buildings. If you are dealing with any of these issues and you would like to have a fun, exciting, full of energy presentation, assembly, don't hesitate to reach out. My website is SeanGary.com. How they think about their next choices will be different. Go ahead and book a discovery call with me, which we simply have a conversation about what their challenges are, what their needs are, and then I can share with you what I would say, do, what talks that I have that address those areas, and also what an assembly would look like. And yes, I'm pretty much there the whole day. All right, thanks a lot. Now back to the episode.
So on the highest of levels of answering that question,
okay.
If you have the mentorship and it's a nonprofit specifically, is that what you're saying? And then you have your speaking and your trainings that you might be doing. If you recognize that you're going to have an event where you do need a speaker, that's when that organization that is a for-profit can be hired as a consultant. Perfect type of thing. So and then there's other ways to kind of navigate that as well, but that is, I think, the simplest way to answer that question.
Okay, cool. Well, I'm not there yet, but I'm definitely trying to map out what that could look like down the road and here soon. And you're gonna be getting the phone call, so we're gonna be like, hey, let's work this out. Let's talk. What we gonna do? So what? I think this has been really, really good. Some really good information. If there's something that I haven't thought of, because as you're talking, I'm opening more doors. I'm like, what's down there? Yeah. What's down that hallway? With my flashlight? Right. What's going on? Hello? Let's go down there and see what's down there.
We can only do so much.
Right. So my before we get to the end and ask our Winin Way piece here, let me ask you this: what would you say when it comes to grant writing? What would you say people need to know or understand? Like, what's maybe the question that you've gotten the most, or the biggest struggle that you've seen people go through when it comes to grant writing or wanting to even connect with you? What's something that you see like, man, this is something I see all the time. People don't understand this piece that you would want to help people with?
I think sometimes people think that grant writers are free. that's one thing.
Might want to say that one again because somebody wasn't listening.
Somebody in the back probably didn't hear me.
For the ones in the back.
All the way. Sometimes people think the grant writers are free, or they think that, oh, well, I can have the grant writer write all this information, do a lot of research to make sure that it sounds amazing, submit a grant on my behalf, and then I can pay them after I win the grant. Well, here's another thing, and I'm gonna say it again because we already said it earlier. Grants are not guaranteed. So you just had a person take their time, hours of their days, to do a lot of writing, and then the grant doesn't come, and you still didn't pay them.
Ouch.
So you have to keep in mind that is important to still pay people what they are doing, the work that they're doing ahead of time.
Yes.
Ahead of time. So that's very, very important that people kind of miss that often.
Yeah, I think that segues us perfect to allowing you an opportunity to share with all of these people who they've just been staring at the screen, taking notes, leaning in closer like, oh, this is so good. And they're waiting for this moment right here to hear what you can provide. What can you do for these guys if they want to reach out to you? And it was another piece to it. I was thinking, let's just stop right there.
Okay.
What is it? Oh, the other piece was just giving all your contact information so they can get it. So we'll get that anyway. But what do you offer? What type of deal? What type of package can you share with these guys? And of course, I'm gonna try to ask you to sweeten it up for these viewers, right? Like what we gotta get something extra, right? We try to get a discount or something. What can we do? Everybody wants a deal, right? Everybody wants a deal, including us, right? Say if you're watching, put in the chat after you subscribe. Say me too. I want a deal too. Me too. I want the hookup. If you want the hookup, say I want the hookup in the chat. Or say just me too, or just say me too. So what can you do? Let's ask this way. What do you normally do? And then what can you do for us, the viewers, the winners, the we winners?
All
right.
The win play.
So I had to put her on the spot, yo.
All right. So my pricing. Listen.
And if you don't want to get, because they don't.
I have a good thing going right now, right?
Okay.
So I recognize people want one or two things. They want to know something, or they want somebody to just do it for them.
Okay.
That's what I'm running to lately. And so I have what's called Name Your Price. But it's a base price that you have to go off of, and then you can name a price for it. So for 30 minutes, we can have a conversation about specifically your business and what grant opportunities are available. I'll do a whole search while I'm talking to you. Most of the times my search is in my head because I research stuff all the time. So that's a good thing for you. Nice. We'll have a link he can share.
Yes.
But then there's also, if you didn't choose that option, the other option would be to get some support, right? So application support. So submitting an application for a grant that is $10,000 or below on your behalf. And that means that taking everything, and we have a little template too that you can take and use for other opportunities.
Nice. So break that one down again. I want to make sure they understand.
Yeah.
So the first one is I need 30 minutes. I want to pick your brain. I want to get all these questions answered. And I'm gonna write them all down before we even start so that I know what I'm asking. So they can have that option there, and that's just a flat rate that you charge for that. They can go to the link and see what it is, because you don't know when you're watching this today. The value of this is so amazing. Yeah. Who knows what the price is going to be today versus in 6 months from now? So we won't say the price on here, but the other option is they're wanting. You said something about a 10,000.
Oh yeah.
What was that one?
Let me break that down a little bit more. So for instance, there's grants out there that might be valued at $10,000. Okay, and it's for any type of small business.
Okay.
It might be a very high competitive grant, but if you don't apply, that's the shot that you missed. Right. So and you recognize, like, I don't want to do it myself. Can you do it for me? Sure. He can do it for you. So we would meet for about 15, 20 minutes. I'll ask you a series of questions so that I can obtain all the information I need to submit an application on your behalf. With that, you'll get a template as well. And a template is something that you can use in the future, that if you decided, hey, I want to apply myself, let me just take a stab at it. At least I have a baseline for what I can use to copy and paste into the application.
Keywords, copy and paste.
And it's all legitimate for your business. And there you have it. So that's the option too.
Nice. Okay, so where can they get in contact with you?
They can find me on Facebook, JoVonne Walker, Instagram, JoVonne S. Walker, and LinkedIn, JoVonne Walker. I'm all over JoVonne Walker. But you can also go to www.thinkaboutit.llc.com, okay? And that's where you'll see much more of the services that are offered, whether it's grant writing, proposals, or even trainings that may be coming about too.
Nice. So there's so much more that you guys can find. Reach out to JoVonne, man. Make sure you guys take advantage of it. A lot of times in our communities, we just don't know. And we don't know what we don't know. And the first step to knowing is connecting with somebody else who does know, right? So you guys have an opportunity to connect with somebody who this is what they do. Like, she's on it like all the time. She's posting stuff about, like, she knows. So get with her and make something happen. Get out here and help some people, right?
Exactly.
Do something cool. All right, so before we close this thing out, I'm going to ask you, because this is the Win and Play podcast. You can't come on the Win and Play podcast and not get some win and plays, which you have done already. So kudos to you for that. Thank you for that. Appreciate that. Here's our question. And you guys watching at home, you guys already know what's coming. All right, you have option A, you have option B. Option A, principals, parents, and teachers. You get to give 3 winning plays to help them do what they do, to help connect with kids or whatever. That's ultimately going to make them better, because then the kids will be better. Or option B, where you choose one of them, principals or parents or teachers, and you give 5 winning plays, 5 tips, 5 things that can help them to be better at what they do.
I'm gonna go with option B.
Option B, okay, 5.
Talk to some principals.
Principals, all right, here we go.
Because I recognize that some kids don't know anything about financial literacy.
Mm.
And there's not a lot to talk about. There may not be a lot to talk about entrepreneurship either. So I think in terms of the society that we're in, principals, if you hear me out, try to implement some level of programming in your school systems where you are allowing children to tap into their creativity. Whether learning how to be entrepreneurs, learning how to literally manage their finances a lot better, hiring consultants to make that happen. But I think that's the most important. So we got the financial literacy side, we have the entrepreneurship side, we have the creativity side in terms of maybe college isn't for them. What is the next step? I mean, I know there's trade schools and things of that nature, but just really having those clear-cut conversations so that your counselors will know how to communicate to each child they meet with on a daily as well.
That's good. I'll count that as 3.
Yeah, that's 3.
Yeah, so 2 more.
2 more. This I feel like I've covered them, but no. I think just being consistent in kids' lives and make sure that they feel important.
That's good.
Doing whatever you can to promote leadership in the school, and whether it's certain merits and things of that nature for the youth, making sure that the platform them for the things that they're doing, so they can feel like real leaders.
That's good.
And then the
last one.
5th one. Oh my God, this is
drum roll.
All right, 5th one. Remain committed to the cause. Is, oftentimes any position that we get, sometimes we just kind of get excited about the fact that we're in the position, but sometimes miss out on the opportunity to really make the strongest impact to the people that we're here to serve. Always remember who you're serving.
Ooh, I love it. I love it. That's a great way to wrap that up, man. That's really good. And so, last thing before we go, tell them again where they can find you online.
Everywhere, JoVonne Walker. And then also www.thinkaboutit.llc.com.
Perfect. All right, any last words, any final words?
No, thank you for having me.
Oh, no problem.
It's been a very, very great conversation.
Yeah.
But listen, if you are going for any type of funding, any type of grant, loan, whatever the case may be clear in what you want to do, have a strategic purpose so that you can start reaping the rewards and benefits that you're doing on a day in and day out basis.
That's good. Hey, I ain't got nothing left, so I hope you guys took notes. If you didn't, that's awesome, because you can go back and watch it again and add some more time to the viewers' clock, because I guess they count all the time, right? Every month, how many people are watching. So like, subscribe, share. Anybody that you know who has this really cool idea and they just need some funding to help make that thing happen, might want to send this to them. Go ahead and share this with them, tag them below, all that good stuff, right? All the other YouTube-y things. Just get this thing out there, guys. The more people that lay eyes on it, the more people that will be blessed. And the more JoVonne will be able to be blessed, because she'll be able to connect with new clients as well, right? So if this is our community, we want to always take care of our guests as they take care of us, all right? Hey, that's all I got. Thank you again for coming out. It's your boy, Sean Gary, and I'm out. Peace.